Just 60 years ago, this was nothing but sand. So how did an empty desert become the most futuristic city on Earth? This is the story of impossible ambition, of dust turned into destiny. This is Dubai. 1800 years of recorded civilization, and Dubai was a footnote, a seasonal camp, a dot on a coastline that few maps bothered to name. The people who lived here were not waiting for rescue. They were built from the desert itself, patient, enduring, and forged by heat most men could not survive. Their economy was the sea. Every morning, men lowered themselves into the deep. No tanks, no suits, just a held breath and a prayer. 30, 40, 50 feet below the surface, lungs burning, fingers prying, they hunted for the ocean's tears, the pearl, the only currency this coastline had. Along the creek, a small trading post breathed quietly. Men gathered under woven roofs of palm. The air smelled of salt, smoke, and possibility. The dhow, a vessel carved from memory and necessity, was their bridge to Persia, to India, to the world beyond the horizon. Then, in 1833, something changed. The Al-Maktoum clan rode south, 800 souls, and planted their flag on a sandbar above a salt creek. They did not ask for permission. They simply arrived, and they stayed. By 1903, Dubai had declared itself a free port. Zero tariffs, zero barriers. Merchants from across the Indian Ocean arrived not by invitation, but by instinct. They could smell opportunity on the wind. But the 20th century brought strangers, men with machines they had never seen, asking questions in languages they did not speak. They had come for something buried deep beneath their feet. The British had already drawn lines across this part of the world once before. Now they returned, not with soldiers, but with geologists. And they believed the ground itself was hiding a secret. For years, they drilled and found nothing. The desert is not generous with its confessions. It gives up its secrets slowly, if at all.
It looks like everything we've been waiting for.
Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al-Maktoum watched all of this from the shore. He was a man who had grown up hauling ropes on dhows, who understood what poverty felt like from the inside. He was not going to wait for oil to save his people. While others drilled, Rashid dredged. He borrowed against the future, against oil that had not yet been found, and hired dredgers to widen the creek. He was building an artery for commerce, convinced that trade, not treasure, was Dubai's true birthright. Millions of cubic meters of silt were ripped from the seabed. The creek doubled in width. Ships that could never enter before now glided in, and with them, the world. In 1963, the first bridge crossed the creek. Two worlds passed each other at its center, one on four legs, one on four wheels. Dubai was mid-sentence between its past and its future. And then, in 1966, the ground finally confessed. Offshore, in the shallow waters of the Gulf, the Fateh field erupted. Black gold tore upward through the seabed, and for the first time, the word impossible left the room entirely. December 2nd, 1971. 7 rulers gathered around a table in a building that was not grand and made history that was. The United Arab Emirates did not emerge from war. It emerged from an agreement. 7 signatures, 1 nation. The flag rose for the first time over a people who had, for centuries, bent under the weight of survival. Now they stood straight. Now they had a name.
The flag has been raised. The Emirates are united.
Rashid moved fast. Oil money was not a destination. It was a runway. He poured it into Port Rashid, building the largest man-made harbor on Earth, determined that Dubai would become the commercial capital of every trade route in between. ships arrived from every ocean. Within a decade, Dubai's port handled more cargo than London's. A desert settlement with no river, no rain, no farmland had become one of the busiest trading ports on the planet. And still, Rashid wanted more. Jebel Ali, a port so enormous it could be seen from orbit, was carved from nothing in just 4 years. Critics called it vanity. History called it vision. From those two planes, an airline would grow that would eventually connect Dubai to every major city on Earth and redefine what it means to fly. The desert had learned how to soar. Then came the sun. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al-Maktoum had watched his father build ports and bridges and airports. Now he asked a different question. What if we built something the world had never seen before, just to prove it was possible? The Burj Al Arab was not just a hotel. It was a declaration, built on an artificial island, shaped like a sail, catching the wind of ambition. It announced to every investor, every tourist, every doubter on Earth, Dubai had arrived. 300 million cubic meters of sand, 4,000 rock armor units, and a deadline that most engineers called insane. They were building an island, an entire island, by hand from the sea. Seen from space, it looks like a human fingerprint pressed into the ocean, as if Dubai wanted the cosmos itself to know it had been here. And then they looked up, always up. The Burj Khalifa, 828 meters of defiance against gravity. They did not build the tallest building in the world because they needed to. They built it because no one believed they could. 6,000 workers on site every day, steel rising faster than any skyscraper in history. At the top, men stood in the clouds and bolted glass into the sky with their bare hands. Beneath the skyline, another revolution moved on rails. The Dubai Metro, driverless, precise, silent, threaded itself through the city like a silver nerve, carrying 1 million passengers a day through a city that had not existed as a concept 50 years before. On January 4th, 2010, the world gathered below a tower of light and looked up in unison, the way humans have always looked up at things they cannot fully comprehend. Sheikh Mohammed had promised the world a wonder. He delivered it on schedule. But Dubai has never been a city that celebrates for long. By the time the Burj Khalifa's fireworks had cleared, they were already drawing the next blueprint. Expo 2020 was not an exhibition. It was a preview. 192 nations gathered inside a dome of living light to witness what the future looks like when ambition has no ceiling. The Museum of the Future does not contain history. It contains what hasn't happened. A building shaped like a question mark, asking the world, are you ready for what comes next? Etched into its steel skin, the words of Sheikh Mohammed burn in Arabic. The future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and execute it. It isn't something you will wait, but rather create. By 2026, a quarter of Dubai's government services run on artificial intelligence. The city does not manage traffic, algorithms do. The city does not plan infrastructure, predictive systems do. Dubai is not building a smart city. Dubai is the smart city. And overhead, the sky itself has become a road. Autonomous air taxis carry passengers across a city where the ground is only one option. The camel caravans of 1833 have become aerial fleets of 2026, and the distance between those two worlds is called Dubai.